Hello, Carnage Cravers. Welcome back to Carnage Corner. I am Ken Carnage, once again coming to you from an undisclosed location, and we are rolling right back into Are You Ready for Batman v Superman? Yep, we're going through all of the former Warner Brothers DC hits and, well, not hits. So, that being said, we've covered the original four Superman films, and we've covered the original four Batman films, and now we're rolling on into we've already been to 1997 actually, because that is the year that the abomination that was Batman and Robin came out. But if that wasn't bad enough, if that wasn't a big enough slap to the face of comic book fans, Warner Brothers also put out that very same year the film Steel. Yes, starring Shaquille O'Neal and starring a woman named Anne. Okay. And Judd Nelson. Okay. Directed by Kenneth Johnson. This film made an absolutely abysmal 1.5 million worldwide. You want to talk about a shit show? This thing made nothing. Okay. And why did it make nothing? I'll tell you why. Because your diehard comic book fans, they said, why is Shaquille O'Neal playing Steel? Why do you have a Steel movie where you don't mention Superman? Why this and why that? And you had your regular movie-going fans who said, what is this movie? Why is Shaquille O'Neal dressed in armor and carrying a large hammer? Okay, is this John Henry? No, it's Steel, and it sucks. Okay, and let's go one step further. Then you had basketball fans who all love Shaquille O'Neal, but they love him when he's sinking baskets. They know he damn well can't act. So this movie just bombed. Absolutely bombed. I mean, it was a further embarrassment to the comic book community, and just gave more ammo to the people who said comic book movies don't work. And that was the stigma. There was nothing good about this film. It was all bad. This is a 1 out of 10. Yes, a 1 out of 10. Believe it or not, there's a lower rating than the one for Batman and Robin, and it goes to Steel. Now, Warner Brothers DC would not put out another comic book film for another 7 years. Think about that. 7 years. Okay? And the next one, oh, you're going to love this. The next comic book film that they put out was 2004's Catwoman, starring Halle Berry, Sharon Stone, and Benjamin Bratt. And Halle Berry starred as Selena. Oh, wait, no. It wasn't Selena Kyle. How do you call your movie Catwoman without the character that is Catwoman? Somebody please explain that to me, because this is gosh darn ridiculous. Okay? It was directed from some guy named Pitoff. One name, no last name. Like Fabio, Prince, Hitler. Oh, no, Hitler had another name. Anyways, this movie opened up to 70 million worldwide. Again, this is abysmal. It's horrible. Okay? And to make matters worse, this film was so poorly received, it very nearly could have derailed the Christopher Nolan Batman film, Batman Begins, because they were already, when Catwoman came out, they were already, I believe they were just about wrapping up shooting on Batman Begins, and they were heading into post-production. So imagine this, if they had not started Batman Begins yet, there's a very good chance DC would have pulled the plug on it because Catwoman was so poorly received. So let's take a moment and be thankful for timing, because otherwise, Lord knows where we'd be in the DC cinematic universe. Okay? There was, again, nothing good about this film, and it was all bad. This is another 1 out of 10. So Catwoman and Steel are both septic champions as they circle the drain. Okay? And then moving into 2005, we had a couple of comic book films for 2005. The first one we're going to talk about is Constantine, starring Keanu Reeves, Rachel Weisz, and Shia LaBeouf. Okay? And it was directed by Francis Lawrence. Movie opened up to $229 million worldwide. And, I mean, it got millions of fanboys praying for Justice League Dark. I mean, seeing John Constantine on screen, you know, it gets your wheels turning about the possibilities of a Justice League Dark film. That being said, I mean, all in all, the film wasn't bad. It was a detachment from the comics. It was not, you know, it detached itself from the comics. Let's put it this way. It wasn't a bad film, but it was only a Constantine film in name. Okay, it didn't really follow the comic all that well. Oh, excuse me. So it was panned by critics because it wasn't mainstream enough, and it was panned by diehard fans because it was too mainstream and didn't cater enough to them. So everybody pretty much just threw shit at the film. And it's not a masterpiece by any stretch, but it's enjoyable. I can watch it. I can enjoy it. It's not a bag of crap. But it's also not that good. So this one gets a 5 out of 10. It could have been much worse, but as with most things, it could have been better. And the other film we got in 2005 was... Sorry, checking my copious notes. The other film we got in 2005 was Batman Begins. Starring Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne, Batman, Michael Caine as the incomparable Alfred Pennyworth, Liam Neeson as the badass Ra's al Ghul, and Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon. This one was directed by Christopher Nolan. Excuse me. And it opened to $352 million worldwide. And it just breathed life back into Batman and into Batman films. And like, it's like, oh my god, a good Batman film again. You know, it got all of us excited. And you know, the studio, after some success, after Fox had some success and Sony had some success with superhero films, DC was ready to try again. And even though Catwoman was a disaster and Constantine fell flat, they pushed forward with Batman Begins, and it's a good thing they did. The film's great. Okay? Everything was good about this film. The only possible thing I could complain about would be Katie Holmes. I'm not a fan of her acting. I'm not a fan of her work. I felt like she was a distraction from the film. But other than that, there's nothing to complain about in this film. It's damn near perfect. And it gets an 8 out of 10. So, and the last film we're going to talk about in this particular video came out in 2006. And it was Superman Returns, starring Brandon Routh as Superman, Kevin Spacey as a prison-hardened Lex Luthor, Kate Bosworth as Lois Lane. I don't know who was sleeping on that one. That's horrible. And James Marsden as... somebody. I forget the character's name because he was that unimportant. Okay, this was directed by Bryan Singer, who of course knocked it out of the park with X-Men and X-Men 2. And of course it made $389 million worldwide. And it effectively killed hope for a Superman film. Bryan Singer made this film to be like this love letter to the Richard Donner Supermans. But as you heard me say in my other videos, the Richard Donner Superman films were great for their time. If you, with everything you have at your disposal today, you produce a superhero film where there's not a single punch thrown, where all the hero does is pick things up and put them down, and you're not, the fans aren't going to like it, and people are going to complain. And effectively, that's what happened. I mean, the effects were great. We all remember that shot of the bullet hitting Superman in the eye and just crushing up, and he doesn't even blink. It's an awesome shot. It's also a shot we don't need. Yeah, I mean, that's not necessary. Yeah, we all know Superman's bulletproof. That's pretty much a given. I mean, so yes, effects looked great, but they weren't used well. They completely botched an awesome storyline from the comics. I didn't need to see Lex Luthor buying land again. And I mean, if this was supposed to be a sequel to the other Superman films, why don't you explain to me how Lois Lane managed to get about 20 years younger? Yeah. I'm like, seriously, you were so focused on finding a guy that could pass as Christopher Reeves that you kind of dropped the ball everywhere else. So this film gets a 3 out of 10. It's not quite as bad as Batman and Robin, but it's still pretty bad. I would still definitely say it gets it doesn't have a first class ticket to the septic, but it's riding coach. So that being said, I am Ken Carnage. This is Carnage Corner. Join me next time as we wrap up the rest of DC's former films. And remember, until next time, Carnage is right around the corner.